Welcome back to Parallel Rosters, the series where we propose alternative rosters for the franchises present in the Super Smash Bros. Games. This time, we will be focusing on The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda is a magical series of games that captured the hearts of many people, mine included. For a franchise that is almost certainly in the top 3 of the most popular Nintendo franchises, alongside the Mario series and Pokemon, The Legend of Zelda is surprisingly underrepresented when it comes to playable characters. There are 3 Links, 2 Zeldas, and Ganondorf. That's it. Unlike Fire Emblem, where my problem was the lack of diversity in playstyles, my problem for this roster is the lack of distinct characters. Even if there are way less characters to choose from than the Fire Emblem series, it is still inexcusable because there are a lot of memorable characters from The Legend of Zelda. For this video, I will once again propose 2 alternative rosters of 9 characters. So without further ado, let's get it started. The first character is obviously going to be the main character, Zelda. I mean Link. I think there is nothing to change. His moveset has for the most part stayed up to date to his latest appearance in a 3D Zelda game. It's his other incarnations that annoys me, because they don't do enough to separate themselves from the original. To make Toon Link more unique, I would first change the hookshot for the grappling hook. It could have a unique angle, working more like Isabelle's fishing rod. If we consider Breath of the Wild Link that doesn't have any type of hook, it would give us a different grab for each Link. His grounded up B should allow horizontal movement, and in the air it could be similar to DK's up B, a lot of horizontal movement with limited vertical movement. It would be based on the Wind Waker's Hurricane Spin. Young Link should be based more on Majora's Mask. To make it apparent, the Kokiri sword and the shield should be replaced by the Gilded sword and the Sun shield, as purely cosmetic changes. His final smash should allow him to change into the Fish Deity, or alternatively, he could also be completely reworked to have a down B where he puts on his transformation masks. Hylian, Deku, Zora, Goron would give him 4 different movesets, making him the character with the most amount of different playstyles, more than Pokemon Trainer with 3. Next, let's move on to Ganondorf.
So, you are the Demon Lord. Finally a worthy opponent for my blade. Our battle shall be legendary. Oof.
Like many others, I have always had a problem accepting the fact that Ganondorf was portrayed as a bruiser in Smash. It was obviously due to the fact that in Melee, he was a Captain Falcon clone. Though it got better with time, his moveset still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because in his games, he was always portrayed as either a skilled swordsman or a powerful mage, or both. Never has he used his fists and legs as primary weapons. So if I could change his moveset, I would make it more focused on swords and give him at least 1 magic projectile. Zelda and Sheik count as one for the purposes of this video. I don't have anything to change. I think their movesets are really cool, especially Zelda's. Now for the first original character, I think it should be Skull Kid. Skull Kid is my favorite character in the Legend of Zelda franchise, and a lot of individuals more talented and interesting than me have already made really cool character movesets for him. My personal favorite being the one made by Delzetin. I will put the link to his video in the description. Go check out his channel if you're interested in character movesets that are actually good. Next, I think we should have Midna from Twilight Princess. Even though she could work as a standalone character, I think she would be cooler if she was riding on the back of Wolf Link, or the generic Wolf from Hyrule Warriors. For a specific moveset, I would recommend that you read the Dream Smasher article on the Source Gaming website. It is a lot more detailed than anything I could come up with. The link to the article will be in the description. The next character is Girahim from Skyward Sword. Even though he is not the only crazy Legend of Zelda character, He separates himself from the others by his disturbing gestures and comments. He kinda reminds me of Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, a lot less intense though. For his down B, he could have a counter-like ability where he holds his hand forward and catches the enemy attack. For his up B, he could teleport. For his side B, he could charge forward. And his neutral B would let him charge his projectiles. The more he charges, the more projectile he will throw. I know this all sounds really basic, but the thing that would make Girahim really cool is his gimmick. He would progressively get stronger as the fight goes on by changing his form. First his base form with his cape and his sword. Then he would get the armor on his arms and the two swords, making his attacks stronger. And finally, he would become fully armored, making him more durable and even stronger. He would lose his swords though, so it would reduce his range. On a side note, am I the only one who thinks this is like Haki from One Piece? He could also become a sword for his smash attacks in this form, and his final smash would also have him transform into the sword, and he would get picked up by the mice who would do a devastating attack. At first I thought about making him change form after he loses a stock to mirror the fact that he gets stronger every time you defeat him in Skyward Sword, but then I realized that first, not everyone plays with stocks or enough stocks to make him to fully transform, and second, game modes like adventure mode would prevent him from transforming. Instead, it should be percentage based, for example 50% for his first transformation and 100% for the second. I came up with this moveset before the Sakurai presents Sephiroth, but now that we know how Sephiroth transforms, it is actually really similar to what I came up with Girahim. The last character from this roster should be, in my opinion, one of the champions from Breath of the Wild. A champion seems like an obvious addition to Super Smash Bros. Even now, I don't think it is 100% impossible to have more Breath of the Wild representation in Ultimate's future. Any champion can work, but my favorite would be Falco Lombardi, Revali. But really, any champion could work, and their movesets would be similar to their Hyrule Warriors appearance. So the first roster is Link, Young Link, Toon Link, Ganondorf, Zelda, Skull Kid, Midna, Girahim, and a champion. For the second roster, I wanted to get rid completely of the two clones, while keeping everyone else. This gives us two new spots. The first new character in the second roster is none other than But if Alfonso is in Smash, who's driving the train? No, actually, it is Vati from the underrated game, The Minish Cap. Most Zelda antagonists are proficient with black magic, which makes a lot of sense because of the whole light versus darkness theme of the series. But Vati could separate himself from the others because of his affinity with wind. He is called the Wind Mage after all. I would completely understand if you would prefer to have Zant over Vati because he is more popular, but I would argue that Vati is more iconic because he appears in more than one game in the main series of Zelda games. Zant would be a fighter that uses erratic and unpredictable movements and use illusions like making himself bigger or confusing opponents. He could also throw dark energy balls, and for his physical moves he would use his dual blades. But I still think Vati would be more unique with his wind magic. He could still use other magic elements like fire or electricity. He could also have an attack where he surrounds himself with his demonic eyes. For his final smash, he would transform into the full Wind Mage transformation where he is just a giant eyeball and he would do a devastating attack. The last character for this video is someone you may not have seen coming, Tingle. Smash is not immune to joke or unexpected characters, and The Legend of Zelda is a franchise with characters that could easily fill that role like Beedle, Agatha, or the Postman. I chose Tingle because he is easily the most recognizable since he has spin-off games based on him. His side B could be a command grab where he fights in a dust cloud like in Tingle Rosy Rupee Land. He could have an up B similar to Villager where he flies using his balloon. If you don't like Tingle, you could easily replace him with other cooler characters. My favorites would be Impa, either the Scarlet Sword or Ocarina of Time incarnation of Impa, or maybe any of the Hyrule Warriors version of her. Tetra would also be cool, Darunia or any Goron, and obviously the aforementioned Zent. The second roster would be Link, Ganondorf, Zelda, Skull Kid, Vati, Midna, Girahim, a Champion, and Tingle. In conclusion, Sephiroth made me realize that there were very few villains in Smash. That could be explained by the fact that if a franchise only has room for one or two characters, it makes sense to have only the protagonist of the franchise in Smash. But for The Legend of Zelda, a franchise that has lots of memorable villains, it is a shame only Ganondorf made it in. If you have any suggestions as to what should be the next franchise I cover, you can leave it in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and until next time.